Sunday morning, I just posted the video on the adjustable feet on the table saw. That was a video that I recorded, or I recorded the stuff that went into the video more than a month ago, actually. Because as you can see in the video, if you watch the video, that the table saw fence is still the old one and a couple of things are not done. But I put off doing that mainly because I didn't have the footage for the actual build. So I was planning on building, like making new ones that to show the action of making them. But I said, I'll just use the pictures. That'll be good enough. I mean, these things are simple. So I quickly made it up yesterday because I didn't have anything for this morning. I didn't have anything like from my main channel. I didn't have anything this morning from my main channel because I'm kind of in a little bit of a slump, I guess you could say, in that I don't feel like I don't know what it is, probably burnout, a little bit of burnout from doing the table saw and the intensity of that. And then I took on this kind of crazy project. You might have seen these things here in one or two other videos in the background. Those started out as something else, and they kind of morphed into a new diffuser build. If you remember a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, I think a couple of years ago, that I built that Skyline diffuser that's in my office. When I was cutting these out and working on them for the original idea, I said, wouldn't it be cool to make a diffuser with those triangular pieces? And I mean, they're spalted, so they'll look kind of really neat. And so that's what I decided to do, forgetting kind of how much work is involved in that. And these are especially difficult because they're triangular shape and they have to fit together properly, within reason, of course. So the basic procedure for those is to take the chunks of firewood and cut them to like a standard length, which is 6 1/4, and then saw them on my bandsaw vertically after laying out the triangle on the top. And that's tedious work. So this has been dragging on. Also, it's kind of consuming the workshop. It's taking up too much space here. I can't really do anything else. The other thing is I've got the Shapeoko in here still, and I was playing with that for a couple of days, and I've come to the realization that that is basically useless for me and what I do. I mean, I might have one or two small things that I could use it for, but by and large, it will be, wasted out here. Like I was going to mount it on the wall, set up the laptop to work it from and stuff like that. But I know that I would never use it, so that's going to go back down in the basement again. Before I wrap up, I want to talk a little bit about the Fixing 3 Things Designed by Idiots video. And I don't know, some people mistook what I was saying there. I'm saying, it's my personal belief that people, like the market, what people want, what people are willing to pay, dictates the quality of the item you're going to get. If the demand was there for really high quality items, you'd be getting really high quality items, but you'd be paying for it. So it's actually your own fault that cheap or defective products exist because you buy the cheap stuff, you buy the lower cost stuff. Now, the 3 things that I had there weren't inexpensive. Like I can't say for the spatula, the metal one, because I didn't buy that one. But the other 2 certainly weren't cheap. And there weren't any outward signs looking at them, just casually looking at them, that there were going to be any problems with them. Like the mixing bowl, obviously I would have to unpack the whole thing to see that. And I would have to look at it and say to myself, the water is going to get in and it's going to stay in there. And that'll be a problem. And occasionally that doesn't occur to you when you're looking at it. And this is the point I was making with the designers. Probably they didn't think that would be a problem. Likewise with the handles on some of these things, Maybe they know that water will get in, but they think that it'll drain out after, very quickly. So anyway, looking around the shop here at things that, have manufacturing defects or design defects, I've got my Stanley low-angle block plane. This is the one I put the new stainless steel base on after dropping it and breaking it. But before that, I replaced the knob on the end here that adjusts the cutting depth, and that was just pressed onto the shaft. And now, I don't know what happened there with the design. Maybe they said to themselves, maybe the designer said that, okay, you're just going to be using your fingers to turn this. This is not seeing a lot of force. Therefore, it doesn't have to be attached super strong. However, that doesn't take into account things like dropping it or some kind of abuse. I'm not entirely certain what it was that caused this to come loose. I can't remember at this point. All I know is that it did. Now, it might have been the designer, it might have been manufacturing. The designer might have said, well, we're gonna put a pin in that, or we're gonna use some adhesive, or we're going to thread it on, or like they did here, is they put it right through and then they peened over the end so that it's not gonna come off. But maybe manufacturing, that part of it said, no, we're just going to press it on because that's going to be good enough. We'll take our chances with that. That's a cost-cutting move, though. They want to get the price down to the point where you guys will buy it. If it's too expensive, people are not going to buy it. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's not a deceptive move on the manufacturer's part. It's the strategy to get the thing down low enough to where people will buy it. Much of the people that buy things that, manufacturers are trying to pull one over on them, make cheapest thing they possibly can. When, okay, if you're a manufacturer, you don't want to be doing that. And I'm sure most of them know that already. I mean, it'd be a different thing if that was the only manufacturer of spatulas in the world and you had no choice but to buy from them again. That's not the case, though. You can buy another one. You can pick another brand. I mean, you're going to make certain assumptions before you buy something, and that's usually based on the price. Typically you get what you pay for. And if you're buying something cheap, you're going to run into problems like that, I figure, more often than you will if you buy something more expensive. However, it doesn't rule out the possibility that the person that designed the product to begin with didn't see that particular problem when they did it.
You're not anybody in America unless you're on TV. On TV is where we learn about who we really are. Because what's the point of doing anything worthwhile if nobody's watching? And if people are watching, it makes you a better person.